Hi friends, welcome back. This is a quick video I'm putting together to help out people to start off the project right. So I got a couple of questions saying that it's kind of hard to understand how this whole database has to be set up and how to make it work. So with that, I'm just putting this video together to help you out a little bit. So the first thing, right, is to make sure that you have checked out the code. So once you check out the code, you will pretty much see this Teams app inside the repository, and that whole thing will contain the code base for this project. This is for the anonymous piece that doesn't require any SSO or login or anything, and it is the idea is to make the customers be able to use this web application to do their transactions with the auto repair company. So it is pretty much a Node.js based application that is going to be embedded into Teams as a tab, and that is what they're going to use. So if they don't want to set up Teams and other things, then obviously they can just make it work outside in the browser, and then can be hosted in the app service of Azure, and they can directly access it through their browser. So both options are available, but we'll showcase that the Teams to make sure that we can actually integrate into Teams. So to start with, we need to get Docker Desktop installed. So get Docker Desktop installed and start Docker Desktop, and then you can see that the screen button has shown up, which means that the engine is running fine. So then you can open up a command shell, and then you can execute this command called Docker PS, and that will report out what containers are running. Obviously, in your case, you will not be able to see this running because you need to create it for the first time. So that is all the commands that are required to get it up and running are in this run instructions or text. So if you scroll all the way up to the bottom, you need to make sure that your system is got the node installed. I would prefer 16.6 version of Node, and then once you do that, you can execute all these commands to make sure that you have the right versions. And then this is the Docker command we need to run. So Docker run in minus D is detached mode. Name is MySQL, and then we're executing the port 3306 port forwarding. And I'm setting my root password. You can change it if you want to, but make sure that you change it in other programs if you want to play along, right? So once you do that, and then that's actually MySQL 8. So that is kind of what I have pulled down from Docker. Once you run that, you will come to this phase where it is actually running a Docker endpoint, right? So the next thing we want to run is make sure that we run this command. So this is the root folder of the application we checked out, and we need to make sure we run this command, start API. So when you run the application, it's npm run start app, but for running the API to get the database populated, that's npm run start API. So I'm going to create that. It's going to run on port 3000, not on 3978 like the other one which we saw. The app runs on 3978, but this actually runs on 3000, right? So make sure you get that cleared out. So once you do that up and running, then you can actually log into SQL Server also. So you can do docker exec minus it MySQL bash. So it'll open up a bash shell. Then you do MySQL minus u root minus p. And this is the password that we need to set up. You hit enter, and then you'll be in this one, right? So then you do show databases. And then you will see that this information schema, MySQL, etc. This is pretty much you want to make sure that it's all up and running, right? So once you do this, then we just have to issue a bunch of curl commands, and that is pretty much what we need to do, and it'll start and create everything. So let's start from here. We kind of go step by step and run all of these one by one. So the first step we do is actually to create a database. So this we just come back here, and I think we need another prompt, so we'll open that up. So we're going to open up another CMD. If you open it up, and then make sure that node minus v works and npm minus v works to make sure that you're the right versions. All that is cool, so it's working. So what we need to do is just execute. I mean, all that didn't matter, but so you just need to execute this curl command. So you're executing curl command on create db. So once you do that, it says database created. If you come back here and then you show databases, you'll see that the auto repair database has been created. Right, so that's step number one. Then we create the employee table, employee table will get created. Then we create the employees, employees created. Then we list the employees just to kind of show, and then I will definitely not execute the delete. So you're gonna run that. So you can see everything is created here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 11, ID 11, right? So all that got created. I won't do the delete employees, which makes no sense. List employees again, I think I should get rid of this because it's duplicate. I'll move this down all the way. If you want to clean up maybe later, do that, but we don't need to do that. So we created the employee list employees, create a customer table. So now we're creating customers. Just execute that. Customer table got created. Then execute this, create three customers. There you go, created. And then if you want to list customers, just show, make sure. Oh, that's good. It looks like it's working. And if you want to, yeah, this may not work because it's all randomized stuff. So this may not work. You might have to substitute those last names with proper, like in this case, it's Ryan Hadley. Maybe here, Hadley and Ryan. This may not work in your case because everything is Faker. I'm using Faker library, so Faker can give you any name you want. So that doesn't work for some reason. Ryan is the last name. Sorry, I got it wrong. Let's switch that around. Ryan is the last name and Hadley was the first name. Switch that. So if you kind of come back here and try to run it again. It's making sure that it works. So there you go, it works fine. So that's pretty much it. And then this I'll remove it. It's for academic purposes, I don't need it. So this is the create service records table. Now it's going to create the service records table to execute that. So the table got created, right? So I'll just pause here for 1 second and then I'll say show use auto repair. And then I'll say show tables just to show you that there are not a lot of tables. So if your use case is different, you can just tweak these tables and the table definitions, and then you should be good to go. Like maybe if you're doing like a Home Depot case, then you can adjust your tables a little bit, and then you can get it going. Okay, the only one I want to show here is create service records. If you go to the index.js and then look for create service records. Hold on, something is wrong. Okay, something is off. Okay, maybe it's a different project. Hold on, let's close this guy. Yeah, I was in a different project. So if you go here, right, if you kind of scroll down here, it'll give you all these problems and all that. So best thing is kind of go here and take a look. Like this is the one which is actually creating all these service records table, and then it's actually creating service records, right? So you want to make sure that these IDs usually should be okay. So if you want to start from 1 and you go to 11, that's usually what we have from our database. But if not, you can actually query and make sure, right? So select from customer. So we can actually say min of ID from customer and max of ID. So this will kind of make sure that you're not putting any bad data. So 1 and 200, which is expected. 1 and 200. And then if you do the same thing on employee, let's make sure max is employee and 1 will be 1, right? So that's pretty much what you have to adjust. Maybe you won't even have to adjust because it's now checked in correctly. So once you do that, if since we have changed code, we might have to restart the engine here. Let's do that to make sure that we get that new code. Start the API. And what I have done is I've created a lot of records here. For every customer, I'll pick one customer ID, one employee ID, and then I'll pick one of the random vehicles. And then for those vehicles, I'm actually going to create a bunch of service records. So for every vehicle I find, I create three service records, with the random prices, etc., and then random dates. And then the vehicle and the customer remains the same. So if you see this part, so I'm creating 2000 service records times three. So there's quite a bit of data just to kind of show you that picture, right? So that I wanted to show you so that you understand that we create a ton of records. Um, and they're all coordinated in such a way that it is actually part of the same customer and same vehicle, and it's still randomized, right? So let's copy this, and then we run this, and this is going to fake create record, right? So now just to make sure it is run, so select count star from service records 3217 rows. Then if you take it's just all fake stuff. You will see that a lot of fake data was created, right? So that is pretty much how you set up your data. And then there are a lot of other links that you can reference, but so that is how you would check out the code, set up Docker, set up the SQL Server engine, and then you will basically execute these curl commands and then kind of create your entire database. So once that is done, then we can shut off this particular server, right? And then we can do npm start run app. No, this time not API. Maybe I messed up something. Start app. Sorry, start app. So then it's going to start the app instead, and now you can see it's running on 3978. Right, makes sense. So now if you go back, you can use this regular browser, and then you can actually hit localhost and then 3978. Then you should be able to get a bunch of logins, right? These are the bunch of logins I put in here, and it's all fake data. You may probably see a lot different data than what I see, but you can, the idea is to give email as the username and last name as the password, but this is actually how kind of hitting that directly. So now you can see there's a lot of vehicles this person has, and then just scroll down a little bit here. It has a lot of vehicles, and then you can actually click diagnose, and then you can start diagnostics. This is what we had seen before, so nothing new here, right? So that's kind of how you get it to work from the basics. So thank you for watching, and hopefully this will